I don't know why.
Look okay to me.
I also look a little dark. Let's try switch things around here a little bit, see what happens. Focus.
All right, we are live.
Okay, hello, live.
Hello.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go back there. Ah, scary. Let's see what else do I need to do here. Be right back, David.
Yep.
Okay, I was going to give myself a little more light, see if that made any difference. Ah, no, it didn't. So let's play with this.
Yeah. So apparently I forgot to charge my earbuds, and they were at like 5%. So I was trying to put them in.
Oops.
That's not good.
No.
That may do it.
Oh.
It looks a little bit less like I have a sunburn.
Got this posting to a science like you suggested. Chuck.
What do you mean?
Just on copy and pasting things very quickly.
Oh, yeah. If you don't have many tags to do, it's a pleasure.
I think I can do this.
Speaking of social media, Threads for desktop is now live.
I know. I'm going to talk about that.
Ben?
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Oh, son of a gun. I kept seeing things this afternoon and I could not get it to load to save my life. Now it just did. So
Yeah.
figure it out. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
I'm not gonna post there, but probably missing Jeff. Yeah, making Jeff wait here. Whoops.
You say Jeff and he appears.
No, he was sitting in the waiting room. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I totally get it. And I was thinking, oh, he's not letting me in, and this totally checks out.
Somebody finally cracked.
He just keeps letting me on. Right.
Dave, I was thinking of you as I left Costco today.
Oh, you finally got back there, huh?
I did, and hold on, I'm going to send you the photo of all my groceries.
It's easy to spend lots of money there. I can tell you that. Do this.
There you go. I just texted you a photo of my shopping.
That's it.
The look I got as I walked out of the store.
I bet.
Because you know they have the thugs at the door,
Yeah, are you sure you bought all just this?
And I just have this little fold up shopping bag that I slung across me, and it had my apples, my strawberries, and my mushrooms.
Too funny.
And the guy, he did a double take as I come walking by, because I've got the empty cart. I couldn't figure out where to take it, so I just took it back out to where they they have them all corralled. I assume that's because they figure when you go through the checkout line, you need the cart to get out because you'll have so much stuff.
Oh yeah,
Anyhow,
funny. Too
yeah,
funny.
I'm
All
still
right.
failing at Costco shopping.
Yes, you are.
I
Okay.
stopped one of the employees
Uh,
as she went walking by, and it was I guess I got the shift manager by chance, and I said, I'm new to this whole thing, and I have a request. Will you please make maps for what's in here and where to find stuff?
yeah,
Because
good
this
luck.
is ridiculous. And I had this empty cart, and I said, I've been in here for 15 minutes, and this is all I have. And I was actually ready to just leave. And she's like, okay, no problem. I'll just go with you and help you find whatever it is that you're looking for. And so
Oh,
this
wow.
manager just went
Oh.
through the store with me. And as we're walking along, she says, now look at the visual cues. And you see what we've done on the ends of the aisles. That's going to give you an idea of what you're going to find down that aisle. She says, like, so see right here where there's mayonnaise, you'll find condiments and related stuff down this way. And I'm like, well,
Yeah, but-
great. Then why not have like signs up or a map or whatever? And she says,
Warehouse
because
Club.
it's always changing and stuff is moving. And I'm like,
Oh yeah,
What?
their stock, their products change like seems like daily.
yeah. So the one thing on my list that I really wanted to make sure that I got in the store was like a brown mustard, like a Dijon or spicy mustard,
Yeah, but you get like a 3-pack.
which would have been fine because then I wouldn't have to buy it for like 2 years.
That's right. That's right.
They didn't have any.
Oh, they don't have. That's right. They only have the regular mustard.
They had just yellow mustard.
Yeah, they're. I mean, Sam's Club's the same way.
And,
I'm-
and I'm
I'm a
looking
mem-
around at all
I'm
the
a member
stuff
of
they
both.
have, and I'm feeling like on many levels, I'm not the demographic that they're selling to. Because so
Jeff-
much of what I was seeing for food, I was like, this is not stuff that I would have any interest in ever.
Yeah, Jeff, I agree with you. And I get the fact that the stocks changes so fast. And sometimes even, the purpose of a given aisle changes. But the funny thing is we have these new things now called video screens that they could put up and
Right.
update. And Costco does an amazing job of everything but that.
I
You
think
know,
that's intentional.
I
I think
what?
they
agree.
want you
And-
roaming around.
And I will say that too. Is I'm a member of Sam's and I'm a member of Costco, and I would sometimes prefer Sam's because they have that scan and go feature. What I do is go in my cart, scan the barcode, and I'm done shopping. I walk out the door, and they scan my QR code. I'm out. Yeah, at Costco, you have to check out.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I think it is, and I think it's largely intentional for impulse buying. And I think that's one reason that you see people,
Yeah.
with carts that break down because they're loaded with so much stuff.
Mhm.
So
But then, and you see when you walk in, the first place you see is the electronics area with TVs and
I
computers.
did
Oh,
look
sure.
at the TVs when I went in, just because I'm like, they've got this massive area full of televisions.
Yep.
What kind do they have? And I was actually quite surprised because
Yep.
I was expecting to look at it and it'd be like Walmart, where you have a couple name brands that were built just for Walmart. So
Yep.
they're like feature limited in some way. And then you have the cheap ass brands.
Well, funny you ask. Funny you talk about
Eh.
TVs. I just bought one at Sam's last week. I got a 43-inch Samsung in this room you saw.
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm loving it.
Samsung, LG, Sony, those are the three main brands that they had for
Yep.
TVs.
Yep.
And then they had some
The
cheap
TCL
ass brand.
Insignia. They're
Isn't
garbage.
Insignia
I think
Best
that was
Buy's
Best
house
Buy.
brand?
But
Yeah.
they had somehow reason. I think it was Sam's. It might have been. I was in both places. One of those places. They did have it. So they must have got a closeout on it or something.
Probably.
All
Anyhow, I was surprised, pleasantly surprised with the TV selections.
Yep.
I'm not in the market. My, I think it's a 15-year-old Sony Bravia 32-inch
That's right.
TV.
Remember you telling me.
It is still going strong.
Nothing wrong with that. I just wanted a bigger TV, and then, of course, the wife wanted a TV downstairs, so she got the old TV.
Yeah, I
But it
dread the
fits
day I
perfect
have
down
to
there.
replace my TV because I can't get what I want anymore.
All right.
And
but-
to get the
but
features I
you-
want, I'm going to have to get a screen that's way too big.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why.
But
43 is
Jeff,
perfect
you
in here.
might find sometimes that you get what you need.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
Yep. All right. So let's go and start. Audio hijack is running.
Underpants. Oh wait, wrong
Underpants.
show.
Function.
Yeah. Being we couldn't do that this week.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, a week where I don't get to throw Chuck my underpants is a sad week
Mhm.
indeed.
It is.
Okay. The way I would really appreciate it if you'd rephrase that.
Too
Come
late.
on, Chuck. What happens on Mac Voices stays on Mac Voices.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes.
All right, let's go ahead. I'm ready to go. Let's do this thing in 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 268 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my guest this week is returning back to the show is Chuck Joyner. How you doing, Chuck?
I'm great, David. Thanks so much for having me. It's
Well-
always pleasure. And this week you fill in because I missed my show on Tuesday
I
night.
know. So
I've-
that's exactly how you caught on with me. I said this is a perfect time to have Chuck on because he's going through a Mac Voices live withdrawal. So
That's exactly it. I kind of got up Wednesday morning and thought, gee, I didn't talk to anybody last night.
That's right. That's right. Glad you're here. And Jeff Gammett's here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing all right. And Chuck, I blame you for screwing up my my internal clock this week. This morning, at like 5 till noon Mountain Time, I realized today's actually Thursday,
Yeah. Throws you
which
off.
meant that I needed to have already launched all the apps to get the big show happening, and I wasn't even sitting at my desk. So yeah, I blame you.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, Ben Rathik is here. How you doing, Ben?
I am great, Dave.
Glad you're here, representing those Chicago Bears there this week.
The Bears.
Get ready for base football season here. So we're got some good stories to talk about this week. There's all kinds of fun things I found this week to talk about. Talk about beta. Beta keeps going. We're getting close here, and so iOS 17 being released. Got a couple great topics, especially an Apple Pencil discussion that I think Jeff might kind of like. So we're gonna go ahead and just dive right in and go with the news for this week. Apple will soon be sending payments, if they haven't already done it already, for $500 million in the Batterygate iPhone throttling lawsuit. iPhone owners who signed up to receive payments under this the Apple's Batterygate iPhone throttling lawsuit settlement should soon receive your payments. And it said all the appeals have been thrown out, so Apple, you got to pay up. So if anybody doesn't remember what this was a class action lawsuit about people who own the iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 6S, 6S Plus, 7 or 7 Plus running iOS 10.2.1 or iOS 11.2 prior to December 21st, 2017. It stemmed from Apple what they were doing was they were tweaking, quote unquote, tweaking the performance of older iPhones, but with degrading the batteries to prevent them from shutting down. And Yeah, I think pretty much everybody kind of remembers what this whole ordeal was. Chuck, what do you think?
I look at this and I've expressed my opinion plenty of times about some of these lawsuits, and especially this one. Apple gave a completely reasonable, realistic explanation of what was going on, that it was actually to protect the user and the user experience. So, 500 million seems like a lot. I know the first thing somebody's going to say is, well, Apple can afford it. I think it was just a matter of, okay, let's just get rid of this. Let's not spend the money on the lawyers, and let's not continue to generate the publicity. But I don't know what they can do to put into the terms of service, that you have to accept that this is something that they do for good reason. Or do they put a switch in that says, hey, your battery's, dying. And so if you want to keep up your experience, you let it die faster. If you want a worse experience, go ahead and flip this switch and we'll downgrade. That seems to be the two solutions in my mind. But anyway, this one's gone. It's off the books now, and it was stupid to start with.
Each person will get a whopping $65. So
Yeah.
What do you think, Jeff?
I think that it cost Apple $500 million to be reminded once again that transparency is a much better way to go. If Apple had said when they implemented this feature,
Right.
Here's the thing that's happening, and this is why it can happen, this wouldn't have been an issue at all. There would have been some people that complained that said, oh no, Apple is just trying to spin something they're doing to make us buy phones faster, when the reality is they were doing something so people didn't have to buy phones as often.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they should have been clear, totally transparent about this from the point where they implemented the feature forward, and we wouldn't be sitting here talking about a $500 million lawsuit.
True. This is true. And your thoughts, Ben?
Well, I did have both the 6 Plus and the 7 Plus.
Yeah,
and
I did.
I have no idea whether I actually submitted or not.
Yeah, I mean,
But honestly, just as Jeff said, if there would have been just like a preserve phone life button, and Apple would have said something, a PR statement, they would be 500. They'd be $500 million richer.
this is true. This is true. So, oh well, another lawsuit, and we'll just move on. Next story, T-Mobile is their Go 5G Next plan is now going to let customers upgrade smartphones every year. T-Mobile announced that this week that their next plan is going to be designed to allow subscribers to update their smartphones on a yearly basis. The plan will be available alongside their existing Go 5G and Go 5G Plus options. Customers who opt in will be able to get a smartphone with a no-interest phone payment plan, and once half the phone is paid off, customers are eligible to get an upgrade. T-Mobile says in most cases, customers will be able to upgrade yearly. This kind of sounds familiar, does it not? I believe the plan that I'm in, the Apple Upgrade program, that I'm perfectly happy with, and I think a couple of us here on the panel are doing that. What do you think, Jeff?
Good marketing move to keep people locked into your service. This is one of the reasons why I'm happy to not be an AT&T customer anymore, because they were doing the thing where they would let you replace your phone every year as new iPhones came out, all the way up until the year they didn't. And there was no warning. And they said, yes, you can update your iPhone to whatever model, and it's only going to cost you $500 extra. Because apparently what they were doing was letting you upgrade, but then just kind of keeping track of how early in the upgrade cycle that was for them.
Yeah.
And eventually they decided they wanted that money back. And anyhow, so something like this, where it's very clear what they're doing, this is great. And this is a good way to help reduce customer churn.
Absolutely. And your thoughts, Ben?
Pretty much the same as Jeff. This is pretty much to keep the people who go to the Apple upgrade program into the T-Mobile fold.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, if you're doing that particular plan through Citizens and Apple, if another carrier's plan comes around that you like better, well, you're not stuck with T-Mobile.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel stuck. I've been pretty happy with T-Mobile. Chuck, you're on the upgrade program like I am, I believe. I mean, I would stay with it, wouldn't you?
I'm on the upgrade program. I would stay with it. And my concern about T-Mobile, and not casting any aspersions at T-Mobile, but just like Jeff said, how long will this last?
Right.
Because at some point, T-Mobile has to have a channel to take all those iPhones back and then get rid of them at something that makes financial sense for them.
Mhm.
Apple, we know, has that. Whether they decide to tear them apart and use the parts, or sell them off in their refurbished store, or do something else through a third party channel. So I would be very interested in what T-Mobile's plans are for all those phones, assuming that this program is a hit. So this would be one that, honestly, I'd be just a little bit hesitant to buy into at the beginning if I really felt super strongly about having a new phone every year. And it's because, like what Jeff described, if they do pull the rug out from under you, then you're in a position of having to pay off the rest of the other half, basically, of the phone you have in your hand, plus then figure out what it's going to cost you to put the new phone in your hand. So it pretty much boils down to just how badly do you want that new phone every year?
Yeah, good question. We'll see what happens, but hey, another option for consumers out there. Next story here. Then Samsung's done this before. Samsung's got the Tri Galaxy feature that uses two phones to demo the Z Fold 5 experience. Samsung announced the launch of the Tri Galaxy website that's designed to allow iPhone users to experience what it's like having a foldable smartphone. Tri Galaxy uses two phones to showcase the benefits of the Z Fold 5, its large display. And those unfamiliar with the device, that's that fold with the 6.2 inch cover screen that folds out like a 7.6 inch display. Samsung has long had a website that demonstrated how the Android UI has developed and is complete with Samsung apps. So the Galaxy Fold option is new. I don't know if I even want a foldable phone, honestly. What do you think about this, Chuck?
When I first saw this, I thought, just how desperate are they to sell you on the idea of a foldable phone?
Yeah, exactly.
Frankly, though, I will admit it did jar me into doing something I'd been thinking about for a while, and that is to go to Amazon and see if anybody makes a case, a dual iPhone case that you could fold together and unfold like a foldable. And there's nothing there that I've found so far. But I looked at this and I said, okay, so first of all, it's Android. Even though it's an iOS app, it's Android. They're trying to show you what it looks like. But I just felt like, if you have such a great experience, you shouldn't have to sell me that hard on it.
Yeah, by creating this website. It is kind of cool. You scan the QR code and it brings you to a site, and it's emulating the fold right on the website. So what do you think, Ben?
Yes, for only $2,000 and two iPhones, you can get the experience of an Android phone. Well, anybody who could actually try this can't afford the Z Fold now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Your thoughts, Jeff?
Well, I still feel like foldable phones are a problem desperately looking for a solution. So I have a hard time getting excited about foldable phones.
Yeah, me too.
What Samsung is doing in this case, however, I actually think is kind of smart, because if you want to draw in new people, new customers that are more likely to have the money to buy their foldable phone, then you need to go for the demographic that has proven to have a higher level of disposable income, which
Yep.
is the iPhone user. So
Hmm.
making a website, a marketing scheme that's targeting that user specifically makes sense. But like I said, I still see this as a problem desperately looking for a solution.
Yep. Agree. I'll stick with the iPhone. Thank you very much. Apple's support app is now offering more info on nearby locations. Apple this week updated its Apple support app to be more useful to customers who are looking to get help from a nearby Apple retail location or an authorized repair shop. When searching for a store using locations feature in the app, there's now a good to know section and a store hours section, both of which are new. Good to know, Apple lists information like accessibility options, where a store location is located, and provides us with recycling, store hours. That's obviously self-explanatory. But it also gives very easy ways of finding where it allows customers to search to help for their products, service issues on their Apple Care Plus. So I like what Apple's doing with the support app. They've gotten a lot better with it, and good stuff here. What do you think, Jeff?
I'm glad to see
I
this.
mean,
Oh, wait,
yeah.
who are you talking to? Am I just like jumping on top of Ben? I'm sorry.
No, I did say Jeff, but
Oh, then Ben, what the hell? I'm kidding. All right. I'm glad to see this because it's really useful information. On the other hand, why wasn't this here before? Because this is exactly the kind of information that customers need and have needed for a long time. So it should have been there. But I'm still glad that it's at least finally happening.
what do you think, Ben?
Well, I mean, you have to be basically in a million plus metro to have an Apple store. For a lot of us to get to an Apple store, it is going to take a not too unsizable drive. So the more information you can have before making that drive, the better.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense. How about you, Jeff?
Plus what Jeff said.
Yeah, I'm sort of going to echo Jeff too. I mean, this is one of those things that it just almost seems like a no-brainer because you've already got the information on the website. So why wouldn't you just stick it in the app? But you know, there are other priorities, and I understand that. So it's here now. That's good. That's all you need to know.
Absolutely. Next story here. Good news for podcasters. Apple Podcasts did launch a new subscription analytics dashboard, and that was this week. Creators have access to the new subscription analytics dashboard that provides an overview of how their podcast subscriptions are performing. Free tools in the Apple Podcast Connect website. There's a good overview, shows you how many downloads, and shows you all kinds of great information. And Apple really never had a good portal like this, so I think this is something great. What do you think, Jeff?
Yes, this is a very welcome feature. It's frustrating for podcasters to get useful information, all the useful information that they want from Apple Podcasts. So seeing the subscription analytics element come in, this is really welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Ben?
As Jeff said in the last one, why wasn't this here like 10 years ago?
I mean, that's fair. Now, granted, 10 years ago, Apple didn't have subscription as an option in podcasting. However, your point is still absolutely valid.
Absolutely. How about you, Chuck?
I think the reason that you're seeing this now is because, at least in theory, there's a way to have this turn into a revenue stream, because Apple gets a cut of some of the subscriptions, and so it makes sense to start giving podcasters what they want in exchange for the idea that hopefully they will create a pay for podcast, a subscribe to podcast. So it. And I have to wonder just how difficult it was to build this, but on the other hand, up to that point, why would they? I mean, they've been the big dog in the podcast marketplace for forever. Maybe not in the podcast player marketplace, but in the podcast delivery and discovery marketplace. So again, it's a great thing. I mean, it's just one more thing that they're doing and one more little revenue stream that can help add to the bottom line and pay that stupid $500 million fine.
Yeah.
Well
Then there's
played,
that.
Chuck.
Well played. Well played.
Yeah.
Apple also is in Apple Pay. They're now going to support the U.S. National Parks Foundation during this week. They'll donate $10 to the National Park Foundation for every purchase made in the U.S. Using Apple Pay on Apple.com, the Apple Store app, or at the Apple Store, up to a maximum of $1 million. Apple has supported the National Parks Foundation for this annual charitable event since 2017. It's going to run through the end of actually next week as we record this in August here. So it's great to see them do this, and they unlock a special National Parks Award in the fitness app. So they really get engaged with this. What do you think, Jeff, on this?
I like that they do this, and yeah. Now I'm feeling like I need to go into an Apple store and try and find something that I can buy for less than $10. So Apple donates more than the cost of what I bought to the national parks.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Chuck?
I think this is great. It's first of all, it supports the national parks, which is definitely something worthwhile. But it also is one more time that they're encouraging people to get used to using Apple Pay. And maybe if you hadn't up to this point, maybe you would say, okay, I think I'll give it a try. I'll see how this works. And I love that because it fascinates me that I still have people comment on the fact that I pay at the register or wherever with my watch. And it's like, well, that's so, to me, it's just now routine, but to some people they're just not aware. And you also get the inevitable questions of, well, how does it work? And is it secure? And I don't want to, I don't know if I want to do that. And after you explain it to them a little bit, which we all do being geeks, they say, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll go and check it out. Maybe this is one more way to help encourage people to go check it out.
Absolutely. How about you, Ben?
I'm happy to support the national park system. In fact, I might just go on a spending spree for this.
Awesome.
Nothing wrong with that. That's for sure. So then the next story here this week, Tesla, for some reason, I guess apparently likes to have Apple as part of their interface. They have over 20 Apple shortcuts actions. The Tesla app for the iPhone has now gained official support of Apple shortcuts with its latest update, version 4.24. The update to the Tesla app brings over 20 shortcut actions, allowing users to get quick access to many of the vehicle's functions, issuing commands with S-Lady, and creating automations and combining actions into complex workflows. For example, users can now simply use a command Siri and to lock their vehicle for that. So, Jeff, what do you think? This is something I was not very surprised that Tesla is doing.
I'm not surprised. I mean, since Tesla isn't going to go in with full-on CarPlay support, and they know that iPhone users are very prevalent, and at least in the US, doing something that makes the iPhone users happier about their Tesla experience, since it doesn't have CarPlay, makes sense. And giving them a way to do S-Lady voice commands for a lot of car functions, that's a pretty big bone they're throwing out to iPhone users.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Chuck?
Sort of the same thing. To jump on something that Jeff said earlier, Tesla owners are in the upward categories of the financial spectrum. for the most part. And so if they own a Tesla, that means, at least in theory, they're more likely to own an iPhone. And so why wouldn't you just try to please your customers? And I don't know how, I don't know enough about the programming of this kind of thing or the security issues behind it to know how much of an effort it took. But I wouldn't think it was a huge effort, especially if these features were already built into the system. You just have to put a trigger on them. So yeah, it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Ben?
I mean, we're getting to a point where there is a large supply of viable competition to Tesla, throwing their a bone to their customers to keep them happy and being repeat buyers when their current Tesla well comes up for its little trip to the next owner. It's just a smart business move.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. And then lastly, let's talk about Threads. Threads now has added the web-based version of access to the social network. You can now access it on the desktop, mobile devices using any web browser. Since its debut in last July, Threads has only been available through mobile devices through dedicated apps. So at launch, it was very bare bones, but it's starting to expand. Looks like it's losing users, although they did have 100 million users when it first came out. What do you think, Chuck, on this?
Hey, funny thing is, I kept reading articles today, and I could not get it to load the web interface until about 4 or 5 minutes before showtime here. So I have not even logged into it. But to me, this was an essential piece of having this be taken seriously as a potential tool. We've seen brands start to appear on Threads, and I just have a hard time believing that anybody but the most intensely interested corporate user is sitting there posting things using their iPhone on Threads. They're going to turn it over to their marketing department and let them, do the posting. So getting that web interface up is a critical step in having this be taken seriously. And now I'm anxious to log in and see what it looks like and see how quickly they can get their act together and get some of the other key features that are needed.
Right.
To maybe make it a serious threat to Twitter or X or whatever.
Yep. What do you think, Jeff?
I think that this was a necessary move, and I think that anyone that says, "Oh, well, they only did this after the fact," no, they were working on this all along. I think they launched Threads early because they were able to take advantage of one of the many implosions at the service formerly known as Twitter. So
Yeah.
this came along when they could get it out the door. Great. It will make it much easier for me to think about using it, because sitting at my desk, I'm more likely to use Threads as opposed to having to go through the app on my phone. I'm assuming this is all part of the process as well of getting an API in place, so that the marketing teams and PR teams that are doing a lot of social online for the companies they work for, they need this, because it needs to hook in to Hootsuite or whatever other Soho Social, whatever that they're using to manage all of their social media presence. So yeah, if you're seeing more brands show up on Threads, expect that to increase probably pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty soon for sure. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, getting back to what Jeff said, I believe Zuckerberg did admit during an interview this week that they did release it early, based on certain troubles of their competition. But yeah, this is absolutely 100% necessary for Threads to be a business alternative to the artist formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely gonna be interesting. See where it goes. Let's go ahead and move on. Beta this week. Apple did see the 7th betas of iOS 17, iPad OS 17 to developers, and the public beta is out as well. That was about 2 days ago as we record this. Of course, you can go in and sign in and download and all that kind of stuff. The big thing, obviously, was the end call button got moved for that one beta, but it moved back. I think we're safe to say that Apple got plenty of backlash on that, and it's going to stay in its place. Although all the other buttons are moved around with it, so I'd be wondering to know if some are going to hit all those other buttons besides that. So we'll see where it goes with that. As I said, we'll see how that goes. A couple other things that they've done is they got the silent mode haptic feedback. Beta 6, there was a bug about it, and then Beta 7 seems like it's back, and plus the vibration has changed slightly. So they're coming to find some other things. A little subtle bugs. Ben, have you seen anything as you've been running it?
No, it seems pretty solid. Given that the current build ends with an A, I would be very surprised if we didn't see a release candidate right after the Labor Day holiday.
Yeah, so that would be good, because that means it's going to get real close, because I believe September 12th was the date to announce the new iPhones. So we'll see how it goes. Anything in the iPad as far as that goes, Jeff?
It's still working, which
good.
at this point, that the fact that I'm not seeing anything that's really standing out is good. It tells me that that the code is finally settling down, and they're getting much closer to having something that they can release about the same time as the new iPhone.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely going to be interesting to see where it goes. Chuck, any comments? I know you're not in the beta, so
I'm so tired of betas. I'm just, release the darn thing and then give me a feature list. And this it's in, it's out, it's buggy, it's not buggy.
Yeah.
Just let's just get to it. I admire Ben and Jeff for putting up with it. That's just not my thing. I haven't seen a beta feature that I couldn't wait until it gets baked properly, that I couldn't live without.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chuck,
So,
I really am in the same boat as you as far as being okay waiting for features. For me, this is something that goes on my sacrificial iPad, and it's something that I get to play with and experiment with and learn about, so that you don't have to.
yeah.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But if
Yeah.
all I had were my production machines, I wouldn't run beta on anything.
Yes. Do not be like me.
No, don't do it.
Yes, I do this so other people do not have to.
Right.
I
Yeah.
have secondary devices as well, so that's all I do is run them on that. So
Yeah, and not to beat on this too much, but and I'm with you guys. Look, one of the big factors to me is time. If I had time to sit there and play with it and figure out, okay, this works, this doesn't, this crashes, this doesn't, it would be a lot of fun to play with. But the amount of time you suck up doing that, waiting, going through, and again, we all appreciate it because you're helping make the product better. I'm not, but I'm becoming impatient. And I just get bored with every media outlet announcing there's another new beta out.
yeah, you do get bored after time. So I'll just casually mention that Watch OS 10 is developers. Anything you noticed on that, Ben? You have that running too.
I have it running too.
Holy crap!
Honestly,
you're crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm very well aware of this fact.
Okay.
But honestly,
That's one thing
I
won't
haven't
run.
seen a whole. Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of difference in any of the watch betas.
Okay. Yeah, from what I'm reading, I haven't seen much either. So, but the widget interface, that's a whole new thing, and you've been enjoying that. I assume it's a much different than.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I'm actually wishing I had the Ultra now for even more space on this thing. In fact, just give me an iPhone on my on my wrist.
Also TVOS 17 was released. Not much on there. We've got the split view that's happening. That you can watch. You can use users watch television with friends and family using SharePlay. Third-party apps like Zoom will also be available to take advantage of this functionality, and then Control Center's been revamped. So they've done a few things to work through it. So, but nothing huge and subtle. So, next topic I want to talk about here a little bit is the eSIM. When do we think that the physical SIMs days are numbered? Well, they are for the iPhone, because the newest 14 series phones don't have physical SIMs anymore unless you're in Europe. So it's definitely an interesting thing of how that's going to play out. I found it to be very, very easy. I think all of us here have when we've changed phones and moved on and moved it over to an eSIM, and the process is just spectacular. You don't have to worry about a physical SIM card. If the SIM card fails, you don't have to go get another one and pay for another one, and it's just easy. And I've got on my iPhone, as I have a second line. I've got 2 lines on my iPhone, so that works. So it makes it so much easier. You don't have to have 2 physical SIMs. How'd you do it before? Now it's very easy to do it. So it is an iPhone 13 or later that had eSIM. So I'm sorry. I think I believe it was at least a 13.
iPhone 12 has eSIM.
Oh, does?
Yes,
Okay,
it does.
The 12 and 11, I believe, did too. Okay. So the big thing is traveling. How can you travel with an eSIM very easily? And it all depends where you are overseas, and some allow it. Like, say, if you're traveling from the U.S. and UK, you might want to talk with your providers, see if they offer international roaming options as part of your plan. You may not be able to, because it wasn't like before, when you would travel, you go buy a SIM and put it in your phone while you were traveling. But I believe you can use a eSIM while you're traveling abroad. You'd have to assert where it is, and the other thing is, if your iPhone is actually locked to your carrier. Now, if it is, then there's the problem. And that's actually the beauty of having the iPhone upgrade program, is because your phone is not locked to your carrier. So if you decide you want to leave, you can. I mean, that's a big reason right there why I think is the most ideal thing when it comes to the eSIM, and being able to have your carrier, whatever carrier you prefer. So if I go travel someplace and I want to get one of the eSIMs used for while traveling, yeah, why not? It's super easy. So I would think, I don't know what your guys' thoughts on this, but just is the eSIM's here to stay, and I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. And if anything, it's probably going to evolve even more. What are your thoughts on the eSIM, Jeff, and where they think they're going with it?
You're right. eSIM is not going away, and it has definite advantages over a physical SIM. One of the things that I like is that, like with the iPhone, you can have multiple eSIMs, because it will store several of them. I can't remember how many it will store, but while you can have 2 active at any given time, you can have several others. So you can switch out which ones you're using depending on whatever your needs are. So there's a lot more flexibility in how you use your SIMs. How long before eSIM is the only thing? Well, that depends on all the countries that smartphones are being purchased in, and when they migrate over to easy, reliable, and ubiquitous eSIM support.
Yeah. What about you, Chuck? You travel a lot. I mean, obviously, you stay in the United States most of the time, but do you think it's going to be a good advantage having eSIM when you travel?
Yeah, Dave. And I think if there are any rough spots, the carriers are going to smooth them out, and for international travel as well, because that's not a small market. And so if there are rough spots in any of these areas, they're going to get smoothed out because people want to make it seamless for you to buy their product. So it just seems like such a natural evolution. I mean, if you really think about it, it almost feels like you're a caveman, trying to swap a regular SIM in and out, and you drop it. I mean, it's smaller than your thumbnail, so you drop it, and if it lands edge up somewhere, it's almost invisible. And so, you think about it, it was necessary, it made sense up to a point. But then when we were able to go to eSIM, all that stuff went away. And I think you said it as you were introducing this part, David, it's easy to do. So, once we figure out where the rough spots are, I think they'll get smoothed out, and there's no reason to have a physical SIM in a phone anymore, period.
Yeah. They're always a pain to deal with in the first place when you want to take them out, swap them. And yeah, I'm glad they went to this. What are your thoughts on this, Ben? eSIM, you're sporting the 12 Pro Max, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have yours running on eSIM?
Yep. Oh yes. And I think on newer devices, eSIM will actually be going away soon, because I think Apple will be going to replace the iSIM, which instead of being on a separate chip, will be actually within the secure element on the iPhone.
I didn't know about that. I don't recall that being written up. Is that something new?
Yeah, it's been talked about for a couple of years now. It'll be just 1 second here while I find that article for you. But the way it currently works, the eSIM is, why it's not on a little card, is a physically separate chip. The iSIM pretty much takes it one step further and integrates it into the system on chip.
Okay, so it's kind of like Wi-Fi 7 is coming up soon here. I didn't even realize that. I found the article here on from it was last year, but I'll put the link in the show notes. Interesting to see where this goes. Then this is like you said, it has an integrated circuit card instead of the eSIM. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good.
And I think we could actually see it as soon as this year.
Interesting. We'll make sure we have a link in the show notes about that. I mean, I don't know much about that. But glad you brought that up, Ben. And we'll take a look, and we'll be covering it in the future, right? So get your phones on eSIM if you're not already. Get off those SIM cards, because I would say sooner or later they're going to go away. And a correction, yes. The iPhone XS and XR, thank you, Jeff, was the first to add eSIM in the iPhone. So that's important to know. So another thing I want to talk about is the Apple Pencil. Apple's Pencil is awesome, and I know Jeff loves using his Apple Pencil, and doing lots, since he is a creative designer of some, as well as using it for lots of other things. And there always been folks that are coming out with alternative pencils than what Apple released, and I found this one interesting. This was just announced about last week as we record. This is from ZAGG, ZAGG. It's a new Pro Stylus 2. It takes on that Apple Pencil, but it also has the magnetic charging, so it's taking advantage of that, as well as it's got some fun colors on it too, and it does have different pencil tips, and you can charge it wirelessly, and even Qi Charge will work with it. So it's kind of cool. So this is a nice alternative. I know Logitech has said their versions, which I never was too excited about. Did you try any of the I know we haven't tried this one yet because it's new, but have you tried any of the alternate pencils, Jeff, besides the Apple Pencil before?
I have, and the Logitech one, which I totally appreciate why it wouldn't have been your thing. that to me has been the best of the alternatives because Logitech designed it in collaboration with Apple.
Okay.
And which is why it works so seamlessly between iPads and so it's a good option, but for you, for me, for our type of use cases, probably not the best option.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to trying out the Zag because they're the features that we get in Apple Pencil 2.
Mhm.
To me, that's our baseline now. And so I went to see how the Zag holds up in comparison. I do like that it's multiple colors, and I do like that you have Qi charging as an option. And even though it has a power switch, as I recall, I don't see that as a problem. It's for what you're getting, having to hit a power button to wake it up doesn't seem like that big of a deal. And the power button is actually the end where it's like the eraser end.
Mhm.
So it's more like having a ballpoint pen in that aspect where you click the end and wake
Yeah.
up your pen. Well, now you can do it with your pencil. Anyhow, I'm looking forward to getting a hold of one of these and trying it out.
Yeah. Chuck, I remember you don't do you have an Apple Pencil? You've not ever wanted to use it, right?
I had an Apple Pencil too. I gave it to someone in my family who was actually had a use case for it, and
Yeah.
then found myself wishing I had it back to play with. And so, and this is kind of shaky, but I went and bought a knockoff ripoff. No, not ripoff, just a knockoff Apple Pencil that doesn't have the pressure sensitivity, but
Mhm.
that performs, all the very, very basic function, has magnetic charging, and comes in colors, if that makes a difference to anyone.
Mhm.
And I find for me, because I'm not doing anywhere near the level of sophistication that Jeff is, it's fine for those few occasions that I want or need an Apple Pencil. And I was just looking it up. I paid $29 for it on Amazon.
Yeah,
Okay.
Chuck,
So
if you're writing and maybe fast diagrams, what you got is more than sufficient. You didn't need
exactly.
to spend $120 on something that has the full range of sensitivity and recognizes the pencil angle. You didn't need that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I found that, all of a sudden, I don't know why, I guess I wanted to get the value out of this one, and I never just didn't with the Apple Pencil. So I've been very happy with this. So it's in, and I just saw the Zag is like $80. This was what I say, 29.
Mhm.
So it's the right tool for the right person for the right task.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's good enough. I'm not going to be doing sketchnoting of any sophistication, but sometimes it's nice to be able to do a little bit. So basically, I have a notepad and pen now with my iPad, because of course, in a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, you don't have the pressure sensitivity and all that. So
Right.
I've got exactly what I need. And but for anybody that has a more sophisticated use case, this looks like a nice option. So
Yeah.
go for it.
Absolutely. Ben, do you use an Apple Pencil?
I used to use, probably the same knockoff that Chuck does.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no artistic ability, but I have to say this Zag looks really nice.
Yeah.
It gives you kind of that same more, number 2 / ballpoint pen feel to it, with maybe a few more features
Absolutely.
for a lot more money.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, for sure.
it probably should be said too that Zag is one of those reputable companies that you feel like is going to do a great job, or they're not going to put the product out. So this is definitely
yeah.
worth a look as an alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't pay $80 for the faux JoJo that I bought. Zag, yeah, they have the name to justify that kind of price.
Yeah, yeah. Um, other interesting thing I saw here too, Astropad, who is the makers of Luna display, which and they have other things that they make as well, came out with a new feature here, or a new product called Rock Paper Pencil, and what it is, it's an iPad screen protector with an Apple Pencil tip, and it's designed to be giving you a more realistic paper feeling. Found this to be interesting. I don't know how that would how there are a lot of people out there that probably like to have something like that. And it's just a screen protector that works with what's called texture technology that mimics the texture of paper and also cuts down on glare. While the Apple Pencil tip is made from metal and similar in design to a ballpoint pen tip. And it says that it's making it more precise than the Apple Pencil. I don't know, find this to be interesting. What do you think, Jeff? Would it be something you want to do with having a real paper like this?
Holy crap, I want this so bad. Okay, here's
It's
the
only,
deal.
and it's cheap too, $31.
I know that this is a shocking thing to me. Anyhow, I need to get a hold of this. So I already have products from a company called Pen Tips. And they started by making what I was calling Apple Pencil condoms, and it was these little silicone tips that go over the Apple Pencil tip, and they were great, but I would lose them over time, and which is fine because they wear out anyhow. And then they released replacement Apple Pencil tips that have a more natural feel, more less of a plastic on glass feel. And I mean, seriously, I know Apple says the Apple Pencil tip, it really feels like you're drawing on paper. No, it doesn't. It feels like you're using plastic on glass. Anyhow, so Pen Tips, they came out with these alternate tips for Apple Pencil, and they came out with the nano texture sheet protector or screen protector thing, like what Astropad is doing, where it's magnetic. And the combination with Pen Tips, it's really nice, except that the tips are too soft and they tear apart too fast, or at least a lot faster than I expect they should. But the screen protector part, I mean, it's really great because you put it on when you need it, you take it off when you don't, which means basically anytime I'm using my iPad, the screen protector's on. If one of the kids that's part of my life is going to be doing anything on it, all of that comes off because it'll be destroyed way too fast. Anyhow, Astropad doing this at the price points they're doing, I am so in, and I really want to try this out, and I want to feel that pen tip. For fun, I just went and looked at the pen.tips website, and they clearly are aware of what Astropad is doing, because they are now showing the replacement tips at 60% off and the screen protector at 30% off. So those price changes, they have to be in response to what Astropad is doing. Anyhow, I'm looking forward to getting a hold of this.
It's good to see that, because Astropad's a great company, and
they are
got some great products here. So
yeah, and you remember years ago when they came out with their little dongle so that you could use your iPad as a separate display? I still have mine, and I even was able to do testing with the prototype.
It's at my hand, at my fingertips. There's the box.
Yeah, I recognize that box. Somewhere in one of the boxes that's stashed away here, I have one of the original prototypes where it's the board, and instead of having the nice cover over it, it's like been dipped in silicone or something, just to protect the components. And it's this clear little thing that if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't know what it is. It's just really cool to have that.
Anything, Chuck or Ben, you want to add to that before we move
on? Yeah, I mean, this is unlike the last thing. this is something that you do not have to be an artist to use. I used kind of a janky situation when I had my iPad Air, where I had a textured screen protector over a glass screen protector. But this seems like it's a much better solution. And you for the uninitiated, you wouldn't think that a textured screen protector would give you that much of a difference of a feel. Yeah,
It's
it does.
huge.
Yeah,
I find it incredibly difficult to create art on my
Yeah.
iPads. I'm just
Mhm.
going to talk over everyone right now because I'm way too excited about this
I
stuff.
know. I figured you were.
yeah. I cede the floor to you, Mr. Gammon.
Thank you, Mr. Raythick. Anyhow, the whole drawing experience on an iPad I find to be incredibly frustrating
Yeah.
unless I have a good screen protector on there that can simulate the feel of paper. There's so much that's tactile about creating art
Yeah.
on it in general, and so much of that I feel is lost on the iPad. So
Yeah.
I am
Yeah,
I cede
Yeah,
the floor
even-
to you, Mr. Raythig.
yeah. It even makes a gigantic difference for basic writing.
Oh
If-
yeah.
Yeah, if you're using a stylus at all, you need a textured film on top of your iPad. Period.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I got nothing. I got
yeah.
nothing.
This is great. I was fully expecting we to get geek out here on Apple Pencil. I'm so glad we did. So,
Oh, dude, how much time do you have? Because
yeah,
we could
All of
really
it.
go,
I know.
We'll be here till the Mac show.
Yeah.
right?
Oh my gosh. This week I want to do a little bit of in touch with Mac OS. I'd like to touch on the Mac OS a little bit from time to time. Two things I want to talk about real quick is well, Mac OS Sonoma is it's in beta 6. They just they released that. There's not a ton of big new things there is there because I think there and a lot of people have been saying that that Sonoma is just a kind of like a small update, really. I mean, I don't see Apple's gotten real aggressive at getting this up to date, but I mean, it's cool and all. They've changed put some widgets in place and a lot of other things. I don't want to get too much into it, but really, what I was excited about and I was wanting to talk about is Parallels. Now, I use Parallels Desktop all the time because I like to have a Windows version on my Mac. So whenever I do have to access anything in Windows, I think it's nice to have, so I don't have to have a dedicated machine to do that. Well, Parallels came out with version 19. It brought some notable features and performance enhancements, and I'm already seeing it. The best part is the Touch ID integration. I couldn't believe they were able to integrate it, and I don't know if any of you guys have tried this yet, but excuse me. When I launched Windows 11, I launched it up on my Silicon map, and there it was. I didn't have to put the pin number anymore. I do is to touch my Touch ID on my Touch ID Apple Magic Keyboard, and voila! I don't have to use a password, which is pretty awesome. And they did optimize the compatibility with the Mac OS Sonoma. In fact, this is the first time since so Apple Silicon Macs have come out that you were actually able to get the developer beta downloaded and actually install it right directly. You didn't have to. You couldn't even because you really couldn't even do an upgrade. You had to do it direct. Now there are a couple hoops you got to go through to get it to work, but all in all, I think it's a really good experience, and glad to see that Parallels is continuing to evolve with this product because there are still a lot of people out there who want to have virtualization available, not necessarily Windows. You also can do it with Linux and like I said, Mac OS as well. So being able to test things on a different environment, not everybody needs that, but I think it's something that is really great. And I've been a Parallels user for a long time, and I think this is probably one of the better versions that they've come out with in quite some time. So, did you guys have anything to add with the Parallels? I don't know. I don't think any of you use it, or I don't know, Ben, you've dabbled in virtual with Parallels.
A little bit. I haven't been entirely happy compared to an old boot camp install, but It's definitely getting better.
It is.
To the point where I might actually see if there's a free trial available.
There is trial. You can try it out. Yeah, they'll let you check it out. So check that out. Chuck, do you have anything to add about that?
Not really. I mean, it just seems logical that as soon as somebody could do this, they would. Because and I'm thinking, and in some ways, and of course it's iOS, so it's a poor comparison, but my banking app has Face ID, so that I don't have to put in anything. Once I authorize it and jump through the few hoops, it recognizes it, and then maybe once every couple of months I have to re-sign in. So but that's an iOS device. This is a Mac device. So it begs the question, is this something that we might see come to Mac OS itself?
Yeah, possible. We'll see. Any
Have
thoughts
to ask the question.
this? Yeah, well, that would be interesting. Any thoughts on this, Jeff?
I just ordered my rock, paper, pencil. That's
Okay.
that's my thoughts on that.
I figured as much.
I could elaborate on what Chuck and Ben said, but I feel it would just be iterative. So seriously, they nailed it.
So in other words, you'd rather take us back to the last story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
Well, I'm going to bring a last story. Actually, it's going to be an app for this week. So, but maybe next time. The Good Notes. If anybody is here using the Good Notes app, Good Notes version 6, a couple weeks ago they released the version 6. It brings AI-powered handwriting, spell check, and autocomplete features. It's very popular note taking and app and PDF editor on the iPad. Good Notes. It's a big major update in 4 years, and so it's been a long time since they've done anything with updates, which includes AI-powered handwriting recognition features, a marketplace for digital stationery, and new pen gestures, and all kinds of other stuff. So they actually asked, I know Jeff would appreciate this, having including Scribble to erase, Circle to lasso. With an in-app marketplace allows you to download new templates. They really were really awesome with this, and they also include, I guess, lastly, that this version includes an interactive exam prep materials for the SAT and other standardized tests with built-in hints and AI math assistance to identify errors.
Nice.
That's interesting. So this actually works on iOS, iPadOS, and macOS, so all three. It's available on those platforms now. It is free to use up to 3 notebooks, and then you can get the full suite of features can be unlocked with unlimited notebooks for $9.99 per year, a subscription, but for $29.99 for a one-time purchase, that's not a bad deal. And I did have Good Notes 5, so it upgraded right to 6, so it'll continue to work great. Guys, any thoughts? I don't know, Jeff, do you use Good Notes?
I switched back and forth between Good Notes and Notability for a long time, and ultimately settled on Notability. And if I was doing the same thing today, I might actually settle on Good Notes instead. But what they've added in here, this is really great, and it's a clear indicator that they have not lost the focus on who their core user is. So I'm glad to see stuff like this happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. That is a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios, as well as on Mastodon @intouchwithios. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we're live streaming on our YouTube channel, which is Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/intouchwithios. Web Bixby, I saw you in the chat tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. You can also watch all the past live streams, as well as listen to past shows. Go to In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us, they're over there. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 at mastodon.club. And Chuck Joyner, as always, so great to have you. Where can people find you?
Thank you, David, for having me. MacVoices.com is where you'll find everything. Let's see, we do Mac Voices Live Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, with pretty much everyone here, and web, and a host of other people.
Cast of thousands.
Well, not thousands, but hundreds. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, whatever time that is, wherever you are. We'd love to have you join us at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. And on all the socials, hopefully after we get off the show, I'll be on Threads on the web as at Chuck Joyner. Thank you for having me, David. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate it. Ben Rathick, always great to have you on the show. Where can people find you?
Well, Dave, you can find me at Ben Rathick on social media. I would list them all, but then it really would be the Mac Show tomorrow before I was done. You can find me at Rathick.tech, my website. On Tuesdays, Mr. Chuck Joyner Show. And on Thursdays and Fridays, the Big and Mac shows on the British Tech Network, hosted by this Jeff Gamet guy in the interim.
Yep. Speaking of that guy, this is Jeff Gamet. Thanks for being here as well. How people can find you?
Well, thanks for yet again letting me back on. I really do have an awesome time hanging out with all of you. All right, so on social media, I'm Jay Gamet. As Ben pointed out, there's like a jillion social media platforms, so that's who I am on basically all of them. The ones I'm active on right now, Mastodon and Instagram, maybe now a little bit more on Threads because it'll be easier. We'll see. Then for the shows, well, somehow, for some reason, Chuck keeps letting me back on Mac Voices Live. So thanks for that, Chuck. Dave, you keep letting me back on In Touch with iOS. So thank you for that. Ewan Rankin hasn't caught on yet. So I get to continue being the interim host on the big show on the British Tech Network on Thursdays, and then the Mac show on Fridays. And then Brian Chaffin and I record the Context Machine. And then I show up on other people's shows periodically too.
All right. Thanks again, Chef. And thank you for listening. We appreciate you joining us for the show this week, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks, guys. Oh my God, I'm so pissed off on my iPhone to stop working.
Thank you, Jeff.
Hey,
All
Chuck.
right. Yeah.
In reference to your comment in our private chat,
Mhm.
were you drawing them like you draw your French girls?
What- No comment, Jeff. No comment.
You know,
We're still
it's a
live.
legit question,
Yeah, that's a legit question. I'm not going to answer it.
and that's fair.
Oh, Dave, what happened? Did battery die? Or
I think my port is going on this phone
oh,
because it stopped because it won't connect, and then I tried to get continuity camera to work, and I'm fumbling. I'm sure it's going to have some noise, but that's okay.
Dave, have you? Forgive me. Have you tried a different cable?
Oh yeah, I've got
Okay.
cables over here already.
Okay, I just was thinking, just because you're having trouble making the connection doesn't mean that it's, could be the cable. But
Oh yeah, I tried a bunch of cables because it wasn't charging, and that kind of explains it now. So of course they had to crap out there in the snow.
too bad.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Gesundheit, Jeff.
Hey, if you don't need to have your what do they call it? Rock, paper, pencil, whatever it is. The Astropad kit. If you don't need to have that like overnight, it's free shipping.
Oh,
So mine
Someone
will
just
show
pulled the
up in
trigger.
like 3 or 4 days.
yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
if I didn't have to replace my MagSafe cable on my Mac, it would be very, very enticing.
Well, it's you have to have the right iPad.
Did
Model.
you replace it yet, Ben? I might be able to get you one.
Not yet.
Okay. talk offline. Send me your
I
address,
was
I'll mail it to you.
actually, yeah. I was actually gonna buy during the show.
Okay. I think I can find one.
AstroPad right now is 11-inch iPad Pro or iPad Air and 12.9-inch iPad Pro 3rd gen and newer.
Oh,
I think I have 3rd gen. That's 2018. I'm sporting bridge keyboards for both the iPad and the iPhone, and the 12 and the 11.
mhm.
Yeah,
Because Wood
so
had
this'll-
the 11-inch one for $29. the bridge keyboard.
That's crazy, but yeah.
Oh my God.
The
That's a
packaging
great
on
deal.
rock paper pencil, I'm looking at it now, and I don't have to send this back as soon as it shows up, because they do in fact recognize that there are left-handed people in the world.
It's good.
Ooh, that's nice.
So that the packaging, it has drawings of hands holding the Apple Pencil, and
Yeah.
one of them is left-handed.
There you go.